All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Friedlander, and I'm your host for Motherhood Unlimited, the #1 summit for moms who want it all. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. It is our mission to take the limits off motherhood and empower moms to have it all for their own unique and vibrant life. We believe that when moms learn to create where, who, and how they want to be, that their happiness and overall life satisfaction increases, and they become inspired and inspirational for their children and each other. Today, we are talking about the home organizational life cycle, and our expert is Christine Satterfield. I invited her here to share with you because she empowers moms to create a clean, uncluttered home. Yes, even for those of us who hate to clean. So thank you so much for being here, Christine.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, totally. So before we do that, let me tell the audience a little bit about you. So Christine is a wife, mom, and certified simpler who has been blogging at idreamofclean.net since 2010. She's worked with brands like GE, Bounty, Easy Closets, and ScanSnap. Her work has also been featured in magazines like Real Simple and Home Life. She's always thrilled to work with brands that help with home management, but she's most passionate about helping women eliminate overwhelm by simplifying their home, work, and life. Love it. Love it. I could use that. So, Christine, let me start with asking you what I ask everyone, which is, tell us a little bit about how you started on your journey to taking the limits off of motherhood.
Taking the limits off of motherhood. Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. For whatever reason, I've never been one to really compare myself to others. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. That may be good or maybe bad. But for whatever reason, I just feel like God's kind of given me what I needed to be a mother. And so I guess I just kind of do what, the things that I've learned and the things that I've tried to understand to be a good mom. And so I don't really know what you mean by that.
Yeah. So, you work to help us moms get organized and get clean. And that's like one of those really limiting things. I mean, that's something that bogs us down. It's overwhelming. I look at the stuff around me and I'm like, oh, it's like this energy suck, know, and I feel like it limits my ability to be the best mom that I can be, and
okay. I see what you're saying.
So I would love to hear, that's one of the things that I see, and one of the reasons I asked you is you help us with that limit, that place where we get stuck and we're just like, I guess it's just the way it is because I just can't deal with it. I've got too much going on.
Yes. So my husband and I are very clear on what we want to accomplish in life. We have a vision, we have goals. And so because we know what it is we're trying to accomplish as a couple, as parents, it really helps us make decisions more easily. And so, so if something really good and really great, a great opportunity comes into play, we may still say no because we know what our end goal is. And so we do want to raise our children in a certain way. And it's just easier to say yes or to say no, or to events, to sports activities, to stuff, just to all the stuff that can weigh us down. Because it's so easy to think, everybody's playing 3 different sports, so we need to play 3 different sports. Or everybody has these video games, so we need them. It's really hard sometimes to say no to certain things. But because we have the end goal in mind, we've started with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey says.
Yeah.
It's helped us quite a bit. And so I think that's a helpful principle to live by.
Yeah, totally. I love that. We talk about doing a vision board or something as an individual. I know I did that when I was you know, before I was married and all that stuff. But like to do that as a couple, even just like talking about like, what are your goals?
Yeah.
I love that, so that you really know like what's really important to you. You're connected to those priorities.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
I like the vision board idea. That's good for the creative people and have something to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was thinking about that. I was like, that might be a really fun thing to do. I don't know, like some guys, maybe they might be like, oh, it's kind of cheesy, but it might be kind of fun to do that as a couple too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I still have mine from like 10 years ago. And the cool thing is of doing that, like you were talking about, just knowing what your priorities are, even just doing that process of knowing it. Like I look at it now and I've actually accomplished most of those things that I put that intent for, which is kind of cool. But
I can't, cite the sources, but I feel like I've read studies that just the mere fact of writing a goal down, it helps you accomplish that goal. So, or creating a vision board, it just helps you, I guess, because it does help clarify exactly what you want. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that is on my vision board is the beautiful home. I have a beautiful home.
Yes.
I grew up with a lot of clutter. I mean, my parents worked hard at, you know, keeping it down, but there was not a skill set that I learned. And I would love to hear from you about how can I start bringing more of that into my life? Because speaking of husbands, my husband is actually the neat freak in our home. I know that's like kind of strange, but it drives him crazy with the piles. And it's just not a skill set I have. So please tell me, how can I bring this into my life?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I am in the exact same situation. I'm not naturally clean and organized. I mean, the fact that this is kind of my profession now probably blows my parents' minds because that just wasn't anything I was interested in. And my husband he's very orderly. He's very systematic. He gets rid of things that most people would think, oh, I need to keep this to show my kids one day or to pass down.
Oh yeah, that's me.
I'm right there with you. And so I think I've learned a lot from him. And just because I didn't want that to be a struggle in our marriage, in our life. I just like embedded myself into learning all kinds of system. I am a systems person. So I learned systems, and just basically just kind of paid attention and figured out that he is so productive because he doesn't have all that stuff weighing him down in the back of his mind. And so if I can learn it, anyone can learn it. That's it.
Okay. All right. So teach me.
So how to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have a goal, like know what your end goal is. That's a perfect place to start. Cause you may not want, if you want to be a minimalist and live in a tiny house, that's a totally different goal than us as parents with kids. Maybe we want a house with a big backyard. We don't want the little teeny tiny house. So to know your end goal, of course. And then because I've worked with so many people over the years, that feel like they're in this endless cycle of make a mess, clean up, make a mess, clean up. My family, my kids, they're all making the mess and I'm cleaning it up.
Yeah.
I really studied and tried to figure out exactly why that is. And so I came up with the home organization life cycle. And it's basically a way to change that cycle from chaos into something that actually can give you the home and the orderly home that you want. So I don't know if you want to, I can walk you through it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So this is a new thing. We're going to try doing the sharing this picture. So hold on one sec and I'm going to pull it up and then you can walk us through it.
Okay.
So I do this and then I click that and ta-da! Okay. So walk us through this.
Okay. So you can start anywhere in this cycle. It's just kind of like where you are most motivated at the time. But I usually tell people to start with clean surfaces or clear surfaces is really what it should say. But basically, if whatever room or area that's bugging you, at least get the surfaces clean. You know, you can shove things in closets, you can put them in drawers, but at least just get the surface clean. So visually, you feel like there's space, and then you feel like you can kind of move on to the next step. Mm-hmm. So even, you know, if your kitchen, instead of piling stuff up in your kitchen on your kitchen counters, or keeping your toaster and blender and all kinds of stuff on the counter, and your mail carrier, you know, whatever people keep on their counters, mm-hmm. Just by clearing that space, it kind of gives you a little breathing room, and makes it feel cleaner. And so the next step is to implement some daily habits. So basically habits to keep the surfaces clear. Clean your kitchen every night. Get those counters as clean as possible. Make up your bed every morning. At least have a clean surface in your bedroom. If everything else is chaotic, at least there's one clear big surface in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of get in a good groove and start implementing some really good habits, then you can begin to simplify your stuff. And that is where I'm most passionate about. I feel like that is what, especially as parents, mm-hmm. you know, it's like once you have kids, stuff, it's just, you know, they're growing, they have new likes and interests. And so it just, it feels like the stuff just kind of piles into our homes, even if it's not us buying it, even if it's just, you know, grandparents or friends or birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So when you begin to simplify your stuff, simplifying and organizing kind of go hand in hand. But I have 3 principles that I use to help people simplify and organize. And the first is to gather all of their like items together. So toys, for example, if you start categorizing all of the toys mm-hmm. that your kids have, you can see, okay, we have 38 Barbie dolls and 500 Legos, and you know, you can just visually see, oh my goodness, there's so many more toys than I even thought. I just didn't know we had so much when it was all jumbled together. And so then once you kind of put like items together, then it's easier to simplify, because mm-hmm. you think, oh, we have this gigantic tub of crayons. We really just need, you know, one little crayon box holder. Mm-hmm. And so it just makes it easier to get rid of the surplus mm-hmm. When you see it all together. And then when you've streamlined, you can organize it better.
I'm popping us back so we can.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
So then you can actually organize when you streamline and cut back mm-hmm. on stuff, and you can organize it in a manner, and you can label it, and you can make it easy for your kids to put things back where they belong, and easy for us to put things back where they belong. And then once you've kind of simplified and streamlined your life a little bit, your productivity just kind of increases. Like we were talking about with our husbands.
Yes.
When there's just less mental clutter, less physical clutter, it's easier to focus on the main thing and mm-hmm. easier to just get things done. Mm-hmm. And then once you kind of have that energy back again, and you're making progress, and you're not feeling like you're in this endless cycle of make a mess, clean up, make a mess, clean up, mm-hmm. then you can deep clean or do some things that you never have time to do. Whether it's, you know, clean off and organize and get into all the details of your computer. You know, sometimes I tend to think, like one day I'll get to that.
Yeah.
The rest of your life is in order. You can actually, you know, work on those projects that you've put off for so long. Mm-hmm. Organize family photos and memorabilia. Just, you know, like the things that we want to do that seem mm-hmm. important, but we're like, I don't have time for that right now. I'm just living life and going through the daily grind kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you can repeat the process as many times as necessary.
After every Christmas and birthday.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's one of the things, like, we get, my kids are the first grandkids on both sides. So stuff.
Yes.
You know,
grandparents, they're so wonderful and great.
I know. I mean, I love it. Of course, my kids just think that's the best. So, you know, no complaints there. But yeah, just organizing it. And I really like that idea of just having the spaces for each thing, because I went to a Montessori school when I was a kid, and that was one of the big things, is each thing had its spot. And so the kids knew, as a kid, knew where to put it. I knew where it went. It was easy to put it away myself. And so like to be able to help my kids actually do that themselves instead of me doing it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. I mean, especially with kids, sometimes we can get so, maybe you don't, but it's just like, why don't you know how to clean up your own room? Or why don't you know how to put your dirty clothes in the dirty basket? And a lot of times it's because I haven't explained it appropriately, or I haven't set the expectation or labeled it clearly. It just helps. Just like us, like the fewer decisions we have to make, the easier it is to get it done.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the big thing for me, is those decisions of like, I do paper piles.
Mm-hmm.
So like the mail will come in and my husband will be like, you have not gone through the mail. Like, do you see, actually last night he went through it for me. He was like, I can't have this anymore. Is it okay if I just go through your mail? And I said, yeah, because I mean, I think again, that going back to the vision and, you know, knowing what your values are, like you said about like how important is this stuff, because his tolerance is a lot lower than mine, but I want to respect his needs too, you know?
Yes. But even like paper piles, you can even simplify that stuff. You can, once you get in the groove, you can do all online billing or online, all the bills can be emailed to you kind of thing. As long as, you got to have that in order too. You can sign up, you have to do it periodically, but, get rid of all the junk mail. Mm-hmm. Or you can just have a process of, okay, as soon as we get the mail, we take all the envelopes, throw them away, get rid of all the junk mail, and then bills go, or anything we need to take action on go in a certain spot. Mm-hmm. So even like every little area in our life, there are ways to either automate it or simplify it some way. And it makes it easier and helps us be more productive and more organized in the process. But I love that you guys kind of did it together, because
well, I was scooping the cat litter and he was following me around. Like, so do you need this? Whatever it was some junk mail, but like, do you need this? Is there a reason we have this? No. Yes. Okay, I'm throwing it away. So going through that periodically and really just cleaning out. I love that process. So where would you start typically when you're working with somebody who comes to you to get themselves organized? And I ask, because again, this is kind of personal for me, because I didn't grow up with the skill sets of this, and my parents are just starting to go through their stuff. So I'm gonna be like, Mom, you have to listen to this one.
Yes.
For sure. So where would you start with somebody who's kind of overwhelmed by the mess of their house?
Well, there's two things. Start with whatever bugs you the most.
Okay.
So if your drop zone, your wherever you walk in the door, if everything just gets cluttered and piled right there, bugs you like crazy, or bugs your husband.
Yeah.
Take care, figure out a way to not make it a mess. Or kitchen counter, like an area that you use often. Like we're in the kitchen all the time, and it's sort of a central area in our home. So if the kitchen counters are clean, the rest of the house feels clean. But when it's messy, the rest of the house feels messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if the entire house is, you like, especially parents or grandparents, if you feel like, where do we start? I would start with the easy. So, there's tons of things that have no meaning whatsoever to us. They have no use for us whatsoever, but for whatever reason, we keep it. Maybe we might need it one day, or, I paid good money for this, I might as well keep it. But things like this is the easiest stuff. Magazines, a lot of people collect magazines, but they never have the time to go through them. Mm-hmm. If you get freebies at a conference, bags or mugs or keychain, just things that they really don't have any meaning to you. It's just somebody gave them to you, and you feel wasteful if you get rid of them.
Yeah.
anything that's trash or broken or boxes for items that we kept for whatever reason. We think maybe we'll need this one day, or, you know, we might move one day, we might sell this one day. But when you are constantly thinking about the future, now I'm all about planning and making sure your future is okay. But when you're constantly thinking, oh, I might need this in the future, then you're not living your best, most productive, fun life now in the present.
Yeah.
And so just like start with the easy stuff. So real quick, I kind of live by the 80-20 principle, the Pareto, or 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. And, you know, lots of people have heard about it. It works in business and marketing and everything, but basically it's 80% of, out of 100%, 20% of the stuff you don't use ever. Like, it's hidden in the closet somewhere. If you got rid of it, if somebody came in and got rid of it for you, you would never, ever even know that it was gone.
Yeah.
And then there's, on the other side, there's 20% that you use every day. You use your toothbrush and your favorite chair and your bed and your clothes that you wear on a regular basis. And in both of those areas, you can break it down even further, do more 80-20s. So like your top 20, if you break it down 80-20, you might realize, oh, I wear my jeans, my favorite pair of jeans once a week. I use my toothbrush every single day. You know, you can just keep breaking it down further and further. So you can figure out what is actually most important to you and what you actually love and use. So start with that 20% on the bottom. Get rid of anything. Like, it feels weird at first, but just try it. You know, even if it's a cup, you may not want to donate it. You may just need it out of your life and see what it feels like. Throw it away, see what it feels like.
I heard this thing about taking it and like putting a bunch of those things in a box and like put it in storage. And if you don't think about any of those, if you're not looking for any of those in the next year or even 6 months, just don't even open it. Just get rid of it.
Yes, definitely set a time frame when you do it and put it on.
Oh gosh, otherwise it will stay. This is where my parents run into their thing. The basement is going through the boxes and going, wow. And it's been kind of fun going through that stuff because it's like, oh wow, look at this. But nowadays, like going through my kids' stuff, my 5-year-old is a prolific artist. Go through and we're like, okay, so what are we going to keep? Like, what's emblematic of this particular time?
Yes.
And the rest of it, we just appreciate. We look at all together, we talk about it, and then we let it go.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I mean, all that stuff, and my parents are like, do you want all of your 5th grade papers? No, I don't really want any of those. Thank you.
Yes. I did a video really recently. I don't know if you can see. There's 2 on the very bottom of that shelf. There's a blue one and a red one. So those are for each of my kids. And the goal is to have papers from kindergarten through 12th grade in that. And so right now my kids are now they're in 2nd grade, but so all the 1st grade papers are in there. And it was hard to pare it down, especially because like my kids want to keep everything too.
Right, exactly. You're like, why don't you take that away?
Yeah, I mean, I created some guidelines. Okay, this is what we will keep, and this is what we won't keep. This is what some things we'll scan. You know, if it doesn't fit in there, we'll scan it.
Yeah,
put it in
that's
there.
the nice thing with technology.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
But then this year, you know, we'll do the same thing, but we will also go back through 1st grade because what seemed so important last year may not be important to us this year. Yeah. And just like when you think about yourself, would you go read all the reports that you wrote in high school? Or college. Yeah,
I do know what you mean. I do absolutely know what you mean. Yeah. Totally. I had to do that with clothes because I had saved a few things of clothes that I just wouldn't wear now, but I was annoyed that my mom got rid of some of her cool clothes because, time frame, they come back,
Yes.
Like, why didn't you save any of that? Like, why did you save all of this, but not any of that?
Yes.
So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to save just a few things, not a lot, just a few. But then I had 2 boys, and I thought, well, yeah, I mean, I'll pare it down a little bit more just because maybe they'll have kids.
Yes.
But I could end up like my mother-in-law who had 2 boys and then 2 grandsons.
Yes, that's
and
right.
expecting another grandson. So I'm like, okay, so what's really like the key pieces? Like you said, I love that. Like the key pieces, the main things that would be fun to look back on and have, or they're emblematic of a certain thing, but not like keep it in a space. You know, it has to fit into, like you said, it has to fit into this bin.
Mm-hmm.
It has to fit into the bin. I have to pare it down further.
Yes. Constraints are a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, they're freeing. It's amazing. You know, I mean, you don't think of like having constraints as being freeing, but I was just working on like a scheduling thing. Like you wouldn't think being really scheduled would be freeing, but it actually is, because then you make sure that you're doing the things that are really important to you. Yes. Like you said, of like, so like what's really important to me? Is it having all this stuff, or is it having a space where I can be like,
mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I'm going to go for the breathing room personally.
Yes. Oh, it is so great. As someone who naturally keeps things, it is so great to get rid of things, because then you can focus on what's most important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was just a real thing, since you mentioned your parents, I was thinking about China the other day, because, well, I'm on a lot of buy-sell trade sites, and so a lot of people are selling China or talking about their China. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, okay, so at one point in time, it was a big deal to get China for a wedding, and it was expensive, and it still is.
Yeah.
But then, so, you know, our maybe grandparents collected these, you know, I had to work a long time to collect a whole place setting of China. Mm-hmm. And then they pass it on to our parents. Mm-hmm. And so our parents all of a sudden have 2, because they have husbands. Right. And so then they, you know, our parents have 2, and then our husband's parents have 2. And so we all of a sudden have 4.
Yeah.
4 sets. And so it's just, there's a cycle to everything. And, you know, what someone worked very hard for in the past, and they saved it because they wanted to pass it on. Mm-hmm. It has to make us think differently. You know, do we, when we get married, do we register for China, since both, you know, we're going to get China eventually from somebody else? I mean, it's such a simple thing, but that happens with all of our stuff.
Yes.
You know, like parents want to pass down certain items, but the kid may already have furniture in their house, or like a different style, or live in a different area that doesn't need that particular item.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I inherited some stuff from my grandmother that was like, do I need 2 more comforters when I already have comforters? You know, mm-hmm. It's like, and you know, she's just, I love my grandmother, you know, I miss her dearly. And so part of me wants to hold on to all of those things that remind me of her and mm-hmm. that are special from her. But you know, I've got a little bookshelf that my grandfather made and stuff. So it's like, how do we fit this into our lives? And I think some of that is really like, how important is it? Does it fit into our vision mm-hmm. of our life? And, you know, just because it means something to her, it meant something to her, and it has meaning to me because of her, mm-hmm. would she want me to be bogged down by it?
Right.
You know, and that the answer I know is no, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's, how do I honor that for myself and still let it go? And but it feels like letting her go, like letting more of her go, you know? So that it can be really hard to do, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Tita, like things like that, I always think if it will work in your life, you know, if you're willing to give up another comforter to use her comforter, mm-hmm. then it's worthwhile to keep.
Yeah.
Because that is more important than the one you bought on sale 5 years ago.
Right.
But then, I mean, we just live in a world now where technology makes things so much easier. So we can take a picture of it, or if we had a picture of her bedroom with that comforter on it, it could be placed in our home and we could see it every single day. Mm-hmm. I have a mirror from my grandfather who, I mean, it meant nothing to him. I'm sure it was just a mirror in his room. It's not necessarily my style, but it hangs up in our hallway when we first come in the door. And so I see it every day and I think of him It's just a little trigger that I think of my grandfather, that if it was hidden somewhere, in the back of a closet, I wouldn't think of him.
Right.
So in a way, we can honor our ancestors, and we can remember them if we use the items.
Yeah.
Or find a way to digitize them, kind of just review.
Or even give them to somebody who needs them. Just that could be a way of honoring too. Giving to someone else who really needs it. So.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, oh my gosh, Christine, this has been fabulous. Thank you so much. So we're just at our time, and if you could sum up like 2-3 things that you really want the audience to take away from this, what would they be?
I like to say people over possessions. Mm-hmm. So if you want to spend more time with your kids, and not in a frantic manner, spend good quality time with your kids.
Yeah.
That is way more important. And the feeling of you getting on the floor and wrestling with them or playing a game with them is what they are going to remember more than your stuff or their stuff. It's so easy to buy things and give it to them because we're not around. But it's so much more meaningful if we are around. Think about things you remember growing up. When I think about my things, it's the people, not the stuff that they gave me. I can barely remember anything I've gotten for, a Christmas present or birthday present, but I remember the people who were there. So people over possessions is kind of a motto that I live by. And so I think that's an important concept, to kind of help you keep the main thing and get rid of all the excess stuff that's holding you back from that.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I believe you have a awesome free gift for the people who are listening.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
So yes, one of the steps in the home organizational life cycle is habits, implement good habits. And I have basically an email series that will deliver 10 habits of a clean home. And it's just that one simple tip that you can implement that day and then continue to implement. And if you just do those 10 simple things, your home will feel more orderly and under control. They're simple, but they work.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to doing them. I think my husband probably does too.
Yes, you will be A+ wife.
Yeah, absolutely. Way to nurture and help my relationship thrive.
That's right.
Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you so much. And as a reminder to everyone listening that the email you were sent with this video also has a link to access this free gift. And I've asked Christine to join us on our Facebook group, An Empowered Motherhood Journey, during the course of this summit. So if you have any questions that come up from this talk or the gift or whatever, you can reach out to her there and just do a hashtag Motherhood Unlimited and tag her. So this concludes this interview for Motherhood Unlimited. And again, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Christine. And be sure to join the conversation on our Facebook group called An Empowered Motherhood Journey, and tune in tomorrow for another exciting, inspirational, and helpful interview from Motherhood Unlimited. And I look forward to seeing you there. Take care. Bye.
Bye.